She was the Virgin Queen, draped in lace, crowned in gold, worshipped like a goddess. But under the ruffles and rubies was stench, sores, and silent rot. You won't believe the filth the Gloriana endured and inflicted to preserve her image. What came next was worse than dirt. Here are the top 5 disgusting hygiene habits of Queen Elizabeth I. 5. Rotting teeth masked by sugar and pearls. By the time Elizabeth reached her 40s, her teeth had already blackened, not from disease, but from indulgence. The Queen adored candied violets, sugar-dusted fruits, and honey-soaked marzipan. Sugar, still a luxury, was consumed like medicine and status. Ironically, it destroyed her mouth. Contemporary accounts describe her with few teeth left and black as coal. To distract from this, she stuffed her mouth with wax and even had fake pearls sewn into her ruffs, not just for beauty, but to pull the gaze from her lips. Her own court physician, Dr. Lopus, dared to suggest a tooth extraction. She refused. When one molar abscessed, the swelling was so grotesque that her cheek had to be covered in a velvet poultice during council meetings. Worse still, when one bishop saw her up close, he noted that her breath was unbearable. Fragrance over truth. That was the crown's way. But the rot in her mouth was nothing compared to what sat beneath her gowns. 4. Refusing to bathe even when her skin begged for it. Elizabeth I reportedly bathed once a month, and only if she felt like it. But in the 16th century, that was considered excessive. The Queen believed water could carry disease into the body through open pores. Physicians warned her that frequent bathing unlocked the humors, letting illness seep in. So instead, she relied on layers of perfume, sachets, and linen underclothes to absorb impurity. But as the years passed, her skin told a different story. Underneath her brocaded gowns, her flesh itched constantly. Court whispers spoke of sores, red flaking patches along her arms and thighs. Scratching was forbidden in public. She would sometimes pinch her own arms to distract from the urge. Her ladies-in-waiting were ordered to change her linen multiple times a day, not to cleanse but to soak up sweat and odor. And yet, she was praised for her purity and glow. One ambassador commented that she smelled sweet like a rose, but his words were likely meant for diplomacy. In truth, it was not roses, but ambergris and civet, animal-derived fragrances, layered until her scent was more royal mask than woman's body. She hid decay behind ritual. But the greatest illusion wasn't her fragrance, it was her face. 3. Lid-based cosmetics that ate her face alive. The face of the Virgin Queen was a lie, painted in poison, day after day. Elizabeth's iconic white mask, that pale, ghost-like glow, came from ceruse, a deadly mix of white lead and vinegar. It gave her a flawless, porcelain complexion. But underneath, her real skin was crumbling. The lead seeped into her pores, tightening them like a vice. It caused eruptions, ulcers, blackheads, peeling layers. She responded not by stopping, but by applying more. Each sore was covered, not treated. The mask grew thicker, and so did the damage. By her 50s, her face was pocked, ravaged beneath the paint. Her ladies reported that removing the makeup took hours, involving cloths soaked in mercury-based salves, equally toxic. The irony was bitter. The more she chased youth, the faster it fled. When an envoy from France met her in her final decade, he described her visage as frightful, as if painted upon a skull. But to the public she remained a vision, untouched by time, untouched by sin. Even when the ceruse caused hair loss, she simply added more wigs. Even when it burned her eyes, she blinked through council sessions, unflinching. Her body was no longer hers. It was the crown's, and the crown required illusion. But her face wasn't the only battleground of self-inflicted torment. Her head was a nest of infestation, wigs crawling with lice and powdered shame. The Queen's fiery red hair, a symbol of Tudor divinity, was long gone by her middle years. In its place sat elaborate wigs, stacked high with curls, jewels, and symbolism. But beneath those powdered crowns was rot. Wigs in the Elizabethan court were rarely cleaned. They were dusted with starch and perfume, but the scalp beneath was often neglected. And lice, ever the loyal courtiers, made their home there. Elizabeth suffered from chronic lice infestations, though no one dared speak it aloud. Her servants, tasked with removing the creatures, used fine-toothed combs and mercury ointments, which caused headaches, memory loss, and eventually tremors. But the itching never stopped. The Queen was known to scratch her scalp through her wig during council meetings, discreetly but compulsively. Some mornings her ladies would find blood spots on her pillow, caused by clawed fingers in the night. Her pride forbade her from shaving her head, as some nobles did to manage the pests. So the lice remained, powdered, perfumed, and hidden beneath layers of silk and gold thread. And yet, she was praised as an eternal symbol of virgin purity. But even her scalp wasn't the most intimate place where ritual masked decay. Because when illness came for her, it attacked her from within. And what came next made even her enemies pity her. The ulcer that wouldn't close, and the stench that followed. In the final decade of her life, Elizabeth was still ruling, still painted, still praised, but inside her body something was rotting. It began as a small ulcer on her leg, likely caused by years of poor circulation, lead poisoning, and sedentary ritual. At first, it was dismissed, but soon it began to weep. The court physician wrote that the sore emitted a blackish fluid, malodorous and stubborn. It would not heal. Poultices of rose oil and ground pearl were applied, but they were too late. The ulcer deepened, infecting the tissue, a wound that would not close, a secret that could not stay hidden. Her ladies reported the smell before they ever saw the wound. She insisted on standing during long audiences to hide her growing weakness. But behind the scenes she would collapse, sometimes onto the floor, refusing help, whispering, "Do not see me." In her final days she refused to lie in bed. To lie down, she believed, was to surrender. The stench from the wound grew unbearable. One diplomat claimed that the queen sat upon her throne like a candle burning at both ends, luminous but near its end. When she finally died in 1603, she had not removed her royal garments in 3 days. The ulcer had burst. Her skin was inflamed. Her body, a shrine to illusion, had given out. Even death did not come gently. It came with the scent of spoiled majesty. And yet, the image endured. Closing section. The crown hid everything. She ruled for 44 years, never married, never removed the mask. She weaponized fragrance, illusion, and poison to become more than a woman, to become a myth. But her body told the truth in whispers, through rotting gums, bleeding scalps, and weeping sores. Her legacy is eternal, but so is the irony. The most powerful woman in England couldn't clean her own skin, and her fragrance, it outlived her flesh. That, too, was by design.